Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.
Good evening, fans of fantastic films. Welcome once again to the Drive-In Asylum double feature, and we're really excited you're joining me and Sam Panico tonight because we got a very special guest, and he's right beside me here on the couch. It's John McDevitt from FACETS in Chicago. So welcome, John.
Thank you so much for having me here. This is incredibly exciting. Giant fan of Groovy Doom and Drive-In Asylum here.
Far out. And John, you also selected our very first film tonight, which is The Suckling from 1990. A really interesting looking rubber monster movie, I must admit. I've never seen it. So this is going to be a first time watch for me. Sam, I think you already love this movie, don't you?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
It's probably the only pro-life movie that I like, but is it a pro-life? I mean, we can leave that up to the gallery when this is over, but I really enjoy it. Someone asked me what it was about, and I was like, well, an abortion crawls back up through a toilet and kills people. How can you not like that?
It really is an incredible film. And I hope that we don't tell our audience too much about it going in, because I do think it's one of those films that's best going in knowing very little and being surprised by all of its bizarre twists.
Yeah. The one thing I will say that's not a spoiler, I appreciate any movie that has a chainsaw style opening where this could really happen, or this may have already happened. And when you see it, you're like, I don't know how much of this could happen. I guess anything can happen in New York City, but you know.
You mean it's not a true story?
It could be. I mean, it could happen.
Yeah, I suppose anything could happen. If anything could happen, this could happen.
Yeah, exactly. If there are no rules, this is what happens.
But something happens, hopefully, because everyone accuses me of liking movies where nothing happens. So hopefully this movie.
I would argue that tonight's two movies, a lot happens in both. Almost too much happens in the second one. So at least fashion-wise, there's a lot of fashion crimes in the second movie. So that's exciting.
And I have not seen The Oracle, by the way, so I'm really excited.
Oh, wow.
For the
That's
first time.
exciting. I haven't seen it either. This is two watches for the first time for me tonight.
Man.
And that's
I'm excited because it's something. I like it. A lot of people don't, but I like it, so that's cool.
It's rare that I haven't seen either movie on a show that we do, and so I'm really looking forward to tonight. And it looks like we got a lot of fantastic folks in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. And we thank you for clicking like on the video. And if you really like us, share. And it'll be like, you'll feel like Marilyn Chambers in Rabbit, hopefully, spreading something around that might infect people.
I watched another Canada killer high-rise movie this week, The Tower, and I'm never going to go into tall buildings in Canada again.
I've been meaning to see that one. Wasn't it remade with Paul Reiser? Is that right?
I think someone did remake it. Yeah, I watched the made-for-TV shot on video for about $6,000 one.
Nice,
which is pretty good. If you like Canadian movies from Canada with very limited optical effects, it's pretty good. Yeah, you know, anytime I saw one of those buildings when I was in Toronto, I'd be like, you know, if I go in here, I'm going to end up with something under my armpit and trying to kill people. So I'm just going to stay out. I'll just stay on the street.
I was just trying to explain, you know, I live for moments like this when you're in the wild and there's a coworker who hasn't seen Rabbit and doesn't know anything about it. And then you try and explain Rabbit to them, or any Cronenberg, the plot of any Cronenberg film. Just pick one.
Yeah. Like, isn't Crash that one where all those people come together after a car crash? And I'm like, yes, a different kind of comedy. Yes, that is it. It's got Casey Jones from Ninja Turtles in it. Your kids will love it.
Come together is one way to describe Cronenberg's Crash.
Yeah, exactly. I'm interested to know how many people have or have not seen The Suckling. I saw that Mike Justice hasn't seen it, which I never believe all the way. He may or may not have seen it.
I think Mike gets offended when people don't believe him when he says he hasn't seen a movie. He always tells me people read a very sarcastic tone to my comments, and I don't mean it. I think he's very sincere when he says he's never seen it. Did I do better, Mike? Let me know.
Another
question for you.
I was going to say, another thing I'll say about The Suckling is I think it's a great film to watch on your birthday. And I'm kind of hoping to do a birthday screening of this at some point next year. Yes, I think anything about a monster baby of any kind makes it a really great birthday movie.
Especially toxic waste. When there's toxic waste involved in any film, you know you're going to get a special film. You know, Sam, I was reading up on this, of course, when I was researching it, and I learned that this film got bad reviews, believe it or not. And somebody called it sub-trauma.
Oh, wow.
Phantom of the Movies himself called it sub-trauma. He hated it. And he just went on and on about how bad this movie is. But sub-trauma really stuck out to me, Sam, because, you know, you like The Suckling and you typically don't like trauma.
Yeah, I think because it feels more honest than a trauma movie. It feels like it comes by its weirdness without saying, hey, look how strange we are. Isn't this cool? It's just like weirdness for weird. It's not weirdness for weirdness sake. It's very strange. It's also got an awesome alt title, Sewage Baby. And the tagline was, all he wanted was a cuddle. Which isn't that an even better one?
I mean, I do think many monsters are misunderstood. Some truly might just want to cuddle, and if only they had it. No harm. Yeah.
I did write in my review of this that one of the sentences in it was the scummiest things I ever wrote on my site. So if you've been on my site, that really says a lot. So yeah, this has a shocking ending, a shocking beginning, a shocking middle, and a shocking ending. How about that? The whole way through. Guys, did this ever play in theaters? I saw somebody asked. I don't know how much it did.
It did.
Oh, it did.
It did. Oh man, so you've done your search for this.
But well, the only time that I could confirm it playing in a theater, and this is one thing that I forgot to look for. Okay, it was August 1991. And this was what made Phantom of the Movies write about this in the New York newspapers. Oh, wait, I got to get rid of our overlay. And there it is, playing as sucklings. That wasn't what Phantom of the Movies called it. This is just, you know, how sometimes people who created these ads, they would add an S where one didn't belong, or if an S belonged there, they would take it off. I guess somebody thought this was called Sucklings. But no, that is our first film tonight, playing theatrically in New York in 1991.
And it does only have one suckling, not multiple sucklings.
Yeah.
So don't get your hopes up.
Could you imagine seeing this at 2:45 in the afternoon? Like, it really seems like what a time to see this movie.
It's true.
Like, and you go outside and it's bright daylight, and you're like, oh, where am I? Man, I kind of really do want to see it at that time, though. It's more a good middle of the night movie. I think when you do your birthday movie, do it right at midnight for your birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be a nighttime show for sure.
Yeah.
So that's really that's the only ad that I have to show for the Sucklings. So we got that out of the way early.
Good. All right.
But I was as surprised as anybody else to find out that this played theatrically, because I always thought of this as just one of those movies that just went straight to video and there was do not pass go. But there was at least that one screening in 1991, and this movie actually on the film itself, it says copyright 1989. So I don't know. I mean, technically, it didn't come out until 1990. I think it came out on tape. So that's the date that it's attached to with IMDb. So
now I'm obsessed with Sucklings as a sequel.
No, that's true. That's the perfect name for a sequel to this film.
Yeah. Or Suckling 2 Suck Harder is the sequel name that I have.
Sucking in the 80s, sucking in the 90s, sucking in the 70s.
That too.
Yeah.
It's a prequel, sucking in the 70s.
It's an album, man, you know, the Stones. We've been around for a while now. So what makes you so excited about this movie? I'm dying to ask you this.
I don't know if I can form this into words. I'll say the first time I watched it was in 2020. I was furloughed. I was staying at home 24/7. It was the first year of the pandemic. And I dove deep into Tubi to find the weirdest movies they have, the most obscure movies they have. And that's how I stumbled on The Suckling. And I started watching it having no idea what to expect. And I was just utterly captivated from start to finish. I just thought it was a total blast. I thought it was imaginative. I loved the creature effects. And after the film, I can tell you more specifically about other things about it that I love, so as not to spoil too much for those who haven't seen.
Yeah. That's kind of, when I saw it, I was really surprised by, for the budget and its origins, how many effects are in it and how big they get. Like there's a lot, and that's what I really dig about it. Also, it's set in a world that, while it may be based in reality from that beginning, and again, try not to spoil anything, it is really not our world. There's a whole other universe that got beamed into this movie, and I think that's what I like about it. It's like there's something going on.
Yeah, those are my favorite kinds of films.
Oh, I always say that, like, I always think of like they used to always talk about the original Men in Black stories, that when they came and talked to people, they did strange things, like tried to put food in their ears and stuff because they were from another planet and didn't understand how humans were. I like movies that those kind of people make, where it's like, certainly human beings don't act this way, but we made a movie about it, and maybe it makes sense to you. But they're like aliens beaming down art for us to try to enjoy, and we're like, I don't know. And those are the ones I like. But I'm excited. It looks like there's a lot of folks that haven't seen it. They're like, I always wanted to get around to seeing it. And that's it. This is the time. As Bill knows, I save certain movies where I'm like, I'm going to need this movie for a bad day. And then I haven't watched it. And then I watch it and it's like, man, what a perfect day to watch that movie.
And I cannot wait to hear what people think. I think it could be a range of reactions. We'll see.
Go
ahead, Bill.
No, you go first.
I don't think it'll be a movie that as many people hate as some other movies that we've shown. So that'll be good. So no worries. It can't beat Damnation Alley, a movie that universally people hated when it was played. So,
and The Suckling is definitely not a film to take seriously at all. It's a film to have fun with. So I hope you approach it that way. And I think if you do, I think you'll have a good time.
That's what I was going to bring up. I wanted to ask you guys this tonight. I thought this would be the perfect movie to ask this question. Something I've noticed about myself is when I was younger, I used to be so fixated on whether a movie looked realistic or it didn't. And especially when I was a kid and we were in school, we'd talk about makeup effects that happen in films and we was like, oh, it looked so fake. You know, it wasn't enough for us that it happened in the context of the film, like that someone's head got cut off. You're supposed to care when a character's head gets cut off. And I agree on some level it has to have a visceral effect. But I was so hung up on whether it looked real or not, or how realistic a film was. And now it's the reverse for me. Like if there's a film that, like Sam said, looks like it is beamed in from another reality and you can't understand the motivations of the characters, I'm more likely to be interested in that kind of a movie now. And I wouldn't call that a bad film. So I wanted to see like if either of you felt the same way.
Want to go first, Sam?
Well, I think one of the things that has happened, at least effects-wise, is now with CGI, all effects attempt to look as real as they can, and yet there's this weird uncanny valley of them. And it's like if you grew up on really great practical effects, do you know what I mean? Sometimes in movies, like now, like saying things look fake a bit, I kind of like that, and I kind of look for it. And I like matte paintings a lot more than CGI, and I like
matte paintings are lovely.
Yeah, and I like that feel where it's like someone, especially like I always think of the John Carpenter's The Thing. It's like all that stuff in those scenes really was real for a limited amount of time until they threw it away or whatever they did with it. But like everything those people walked through, they were in that world, and it wasn't just a screen with tennis balls and you know what I mean, like stuff. They were acting to a green screen, and like I love that idea that there was like a physical representation of monsters at one point.
And I think for me, I do have vague memories of being a really young kid and like yelling at the screen that looks so fake and being bothered by that in some instances. But I kind of think when I was a kid, I also watched a lot of films where the effects didn't necessarily look real, but they were so imaginative, so creative, felt so much like a magic trick, like a magic performance almost, that it was really exciting to watch and just riveting. And I think sometimes as a kid, and very much so in my adulthood, the ideas that are presented, like the ideas behind the special effects, can be really powerful and really fascinating and really exciting. And it's almost like my brain, as I'm watching the film, polishes those special effects to kind of preserve those great ideas. Yeah. And fake looking special effects don't bother me at all. And I just really admire the imagination behind it and the technical ability behind it. Yeah.
What's like, I remember when, these are mainstream examples, but like when Flash Gordon came out, people are like, well, Star Wars looks so much more realistic than this. And I'm like, yeah, but I like Flash Gordon better because it looks crazy. There's like fog everywhere and everybody's costume is disco. And it's like, it's an insane looking movie. And it's more memorable to me because of the bigness of it and how over the top it is.
Star Wars could have easily been the same thing as Flash Gordon. Like they were lucky that they were able to pull off those innovative effects because the story itself was very much like Flash Gordon. It was just like, you know, it's silly. But
yeah,
it's listen to me dissing Star Wars on Sorry.
Don't tell Noah, my brother.
Star Wars has more than enough defenders. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, and like I often think of like even like it's hard though because like some of the 80s movies that I like, especially slashers, have way better effects than movies coming out now. Like The Prowler blows away anything that's out now. Like especially it's a way too realistic movie in times. That's
disturbing.
And really
fucking disturbing.
great for the special effects, that film.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
And,
would it have been as good if those effects hadn't
Nope.
been as good?
I love the kind of Scooby-Doo moments of like tiptoeing through the house and how long those sequences are.
She's
I like
hiding
the
under the
look of
bed.
killer, too. Like, it's a different looking killer and it's a different idea. It's not just like a camp, I guess. That's probably why I like it. But yeah, it's really the effects. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Gorgeous.
No, I'm not saying I don't like the story in
Yeah.
the Prowler. I mean, whatever there is of a story, there isn't much, but
I think by that point in slashers, we were just like, can we just skip the story and just start killing people? You know, like those are.
That was
That's
definitely a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, people. I like when people are like, "Well, I'm really tired of superhero movies now." I'm like, "Yeah, there are like 10 slashers a week." It felt like in 1980. So every trend goes all out like that. That's how it is.
I can still remember how magic that was. Even though I didn't
Yeah.
get to see most of those movies, just looking in the newspaper was enough.
Wow.
Because at least you could imagine what the movies were like, and sometimes you'd catch little glimpses of them, like in the trailers. I religiously watched sneak previews because even when they talked shit on the movies, which I didn't mind, I didn't care that they didn't like those movies. I liked hearing those guys talk, but they'd show a clip of the movie, and it was always something I was interested in. Their Dog of the Week was always a good movie. Terror House was a Dog of the Week one time, and stuff like When a Stranger Calls. And of course, they would show a clip, and it would usually be a scary part. And they showed the part in When a Stranger Calls, where they find out the killer's calling from inside the house. So,
to be fair, that opening sequence is definitely, I think, the best part of the film. And I do like the rest of it too. Don't get me wrong. Carol Kane, I could watch her forever.
amen.
Why doesn't she star in all movies? That's what I always say.
Bill, my biggest joy was like on a Sunday we would go to my grandparents to eat, and there was always the Sunday Post Gazette, and it was like a fight to get sections. And I was like, well, I'll just take the entertainment section. So you'd have like 6 pages of these huge ads for movies, and then the strip of what was playing at the drive-in. Like I would just stare at those pages and be like, how can I talk my parents into taking me to see this?
Oh,
no way.
it created such anxiety for me.
Yeah.
I could launch a successful campaign to get an adult to take me to an R-rated movie when I was a kid.
I could too.
But you had to start that shit like months in advance. You had to lay the groundwork, and then you had to like actually, start planning it out. Like I got Halloween 2 from a campaign like that. I got to see Halloween 2 at the drive-in.
Oh, nice.
When it opened, and it was amazing.
It's like I wanted to see Dressed to Kill so bad as a kid. Why would a 10-year-old want to see Dressed to Kill? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
but I wanted to.
The cool thing about Dressed to Kill, if my memory is right, it's like that's the De Palma film with the boy genius in it, right? Who teams up with the hooker. Mm-hmm. So there's kind of like in its own way a kid component to that movie.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is I'm a little sad because I think I just missed those 80s drive-in vans that the two of you so fondly remember, those drive-in ads, because I was born in 84 and didn't really start looking at newsprint ads for movies until the 90s. And that was definitely exciting for me. But my exposure to those ads has been through Groovy Doom, thanks to Bill. So at least I get to enjoy them now. But I totally remember as a kid, I cut out the ad for Scream and held on to it. Was so excited when Scream came out. I think it was the first Wes Craven film I was able to see at the theater, and I'd rented a bunch of his movies before that.
Wait, did you say Scream?
Scream, yeah, the first Scream.
I saw that opening weekend.
Nice.
Scream.
I did too.
It was. I know Sam hates it.
Oh.
I really liked Scream. But seeing it with an audience is very different than watching it at home in your house, and you've already heard what all the twists were and who the killers were and everything. Like that was all brand new for me.
And you were talking about. I was just going to say real quick. You were talking about being able to convince your parents to go and see R-rated movies.
Yes.
I went to see Scream opening weekend as well, and no one in my family was available that weekend to take me. So I got some cash from my mom, and I just tried to go to the theater to see if I could get in. And at the time, oh gosh, we could look at the year the movie was released. When was it again?
96, I think.
Yeah, so I was like 12 years old, and somehow the ticket seller gave me a ticket, sold me a ticket for Scream, and I got in. I watched it by myself in a packed house. Yeah, it was a fantastic experience. And yeah, just really shocked they let a 12-year-old into that movie.
I think the other part of and what I got to really live in more, other than the newspaper experience, was the new release day at the video store of like just going through like what new stuff was on shelf in the two mom and pops in my town. And it was like, I like literally had a checklist, a notebook checklist of what I had seen, what I had not seen, where they were at in shelf positioning. So a lot of the big boxes didn't move as much. So I was trying to see everything in that store. I think I probably did more than like 4 or 5 times outside of the stuff in back, which, I grew up in such a small town. If you went into the back, everybody knew. Your parents would get a phone call. You would be ostracized. Yeah. That's my joy for the last couple of weeks of watching all these shot on video movies. I keep sending Bill pictures of anytime a movie has a video store and there's like a barn door going to the back. It's pretty exciting. It's happened like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, oh man, bring back swinging
the porn door.
Yeah, the porn door.
At one point, I really want to program a series of films that are set in video stores or that feature video stores prominently. There are definitely some good horror films out there. I noticed that that you had screened one of them for the live stream. It was Disconnected, which I thought was a neat film.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
I've thought about that movie way more than a lot of other movies, and because it's just so strange. Like there's a lot that doesn't add up about it, but that's probably why I liked it so much.
And that's another one that I kind of went in on Tubi, having no idea what to expect from the film. And it's very understated. It's a slow burner. And I don't know, I found that pacing, it worked for me. It was refreshing. And I liked the lead character in it a lot too. And if my memory is right, she did actually work in a video store and then had all the movie posters up in her house.
That's the most exciting part of those movies, whenever there's like a pausing in a video store and like people are talking, you try to see all the boxes. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Video violence definitely has a long video section. There's one other one I just did have to look up the name of it, but it was set in Pottstown, PA, in a video store. The people that actually owned the store made the movie to rent exclusively at their store, which is hilarious. Like how many times? Like it's in a small town. How many times are people going to rent it?
Porn should be behind beaded curtains, Tracy Palma. It shouldn't be behind saloon doors. But beaded curtains are lovely to put the porn behind.
The doors are good because if you're in the room, you can suddenly like be alerted as the doors open that someone else is about to enter. That's especially Heads Together had the loudest ones, Bill. You'd be in there and all of a sudden
I know.
Thinking go like boom.
It was like a fucking library in there. And then you'd go into those porn doors and they had these springs on them that went and then you could tell like they had the gay porn on one side of the room and the straight porn on the other. And if you saw somebody's legs, you could tell what side they went to. Just saying.
Yeah, they kept it very separated there. Oh, Heads Together.
Heads together, you got what I need.
There's a YouTube channel of PTT commercials, Bill, and there's a Heads Together commercial on it, and I'm super happy about it. It makes me really happy.
I used to be able to get into R-rated movies starting when I was about 15 years old, because that was when the multiplexes started popping up everywhere, and we had one near us, the Harmer Cinema, and all they employed were high school kids.
Oh wow!
So nobody cared. Like it was another high school kid that was selling you your R-rated tickets. I saw a lot of shit that way. I saw Nightmare on Elm Street. I went to see that like 3 times. when it came on, and it came out first in '84. I think that was the first time I saw it. I was 14, and then it came back again in the summer of '85, and I saw it 2 more times. Then it blew me away, and you know, I like I like some of the films in the rest of the series, but nothing ever could have equaled how scary Nightmare on Elm Street was when I first saw it. Before it was ingrained in everybody's subconscious that Freddy was this wisecracking villain. He's not in the original film. He's really scary, and he sort of changed in character over the years. But I saw that, and I saw Bad Dreams. Ooh. One of your faves.
Oh man, I would go crazy to see Bad Dreams in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I also perfectly willing to admit that it's a complete Nightmare on Dream Warriors ripoff.
That's okay though.
Yeah, but I like it.
If it's good, it's good.
A lot of effects to the villain because he had already burned his face for real. So,
have the two of you ever seen Dream Demon by any chance?
The English movie?
Yes.
Yeah. Era put it out last year. Yeah, it's really great.
I adore that film so much.
Oh, Sam, what are you showing us?
I'm going into the kitchen to make a drink.
I thought this show was finally going to get interesting.
Well, next, right? Just be patient.
Oh, we got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
We're only just past the half an hour mark.
All right. Well, I'll take you into the kitchen and we'll prepare it. So.
I was looking for a drink video this week and I didn't see one.
I'm making it live this week.
I do like live.
Yeah, and Becca's not here, so I'll probably spill stuff everywhere. She's probably watching it from the restaurant she's at. So she is always watching somewhere. So, man, Satan's mistress at 15. Oh, man, that's the move is to be the kid that looks like he's like 20, but you're only 15, and you get your friends in as their over 18 person into R-rated movies.
Satan's Mistress, wasn't that Fury of the Succubus with Britt Eklund?
Mm-hmm.
There was another Demon Rage. It had a bunch of titles.
Yeah.
Something about it. Fury of the Succubus, I think, was another title. If I didn't see it.
I think there weren't. I always thought like we would go to the big multiplex to see movies, and there were certain movies that they were prepped that under 18 kids were going to go to. Do you know what I mean? Like the Nightmare on Elm Streets and the Friday 13th. They're like, we know kids are going to try to get into these. It wasn't like kids trying to sneak into Merchant Ivory R-rated movies. Do you know what I mean? Tender Mercies and stuff like that. Like, you know, that's what I. Yeah, that's what I snuck into.
I wish I'd snuck into Morris. It would have changed my life.
I did definitely see the Night of the Living Dead remake when I was 17, and they didn't card us, and so that was good. I definitely saw that in the multiplex. In the Big Beaver cinemas. That's where it was at.
Enough said.
You guys want me to make a drink? Are you ready for a drink, Bill?
I think we are dying of thirst, Sam.
Okay.
Go.
Let's do it. Let me get my accoutrements out here. All right. I just need pineapple juice and lime juice for this coffee. All right. Man, I'm full. I didn't realize I was going to be full screen so soon.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's good. I'm ready. I'm prepped. This is the Sewage Baby, the name for the alternate title for this movie. And it's going to start with a tablespoon of grenadine. I guess that's the Sewage Baby's blood support system. So as you enjoy it, I frosted up a mug too.
Wait, what did you just say?
I frosted a mug before I even made it.
Oh, fantastic.
By the way, I did not notice your Barbarella t-shirt until now. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you. I did see that on HBO when I was 11, and I instantly went into puberty. It started me in the movie. And I think it's when there's a scene where all the Burns rip her clothes off. My mom said, okay, time for bed. And I have so many questions about Barbarella.
Electric Barbarella.
All right, so we're going to add in an ounce of high proof rum. You can find 151 now, maybe, but I'm still
Going with the hurricane proof. Because I got to finish the bottle. I have a lot of rum right now. Post Christmas. We're going to do a half an ounce of gin. Your dad's favorite. Everybody thinks dad's favorite. I was thinking of it. That was my dad's big drinking bag. Just go get me some gin. Okay. We're going to do an ounce.
I don't know why. There's something wrong with me.
Well, you don't like gin?
I don't like gin, no.
It's bracing. We're going to do an ounce of Midori. Bill, I know that is Bill's favorite.
Yes.
Bill, last night for fun, Becca and I played a new game, Guess the Liquor. It's like the Pepsi challenge. She just randomly poured liquors in my mouth while I was blindfolded.
My sister and I used to play that with each other with stuff from the fridge.
Yeah. And then the last one, I was like, what is this? She's like, it was Windex. And that's how it ended.
Oh, no. Was it Windex? Oh.
Half an ounce of lime juice. And then that's supposed to be floated on top. But you know what? We're all friends here. And then 2 ounces of pineapple juice. What a mess this drink is. I think it fits in well with this movie, though. It's going to be like a melange of flavors. All right. Oh, man. It is kind of sewagey. Take a look at this color. It's like sewage on top and blood on the bottom.
Definitely apt.
Well,
anyway,
welcome to the show. And Bill, thanks for everything. And Pazuzu, y'all.
Pazuzu.
Pazuzu, by the way, is one of the many nicknames for my cat Pip. He is an incredibly sweet cat, but he stares at people like a killer, and he frightens some people. I joke that he's evil, but he's really not.
Pazuzu really could have benefited from, some Coracetin D or something. Like, he was very congested. Maybe that's why he was so cranky.
Yeah, he was an upset. Maybe they should just try to talk to him.
He had that stomach bug, too. That terrible stomach bug.
Yeah. Maybe he should have just met that kid from... If he had just been friends with that kid from Beyond the Door, it would have been fine. Because that kid even has a poster of green soup in his room.
How amazing is it that they're making a Beyond the Door 2?
Oh, like this is an upcoming film? Really?
Yeah.
But there are already sequels, aren't there?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're called that, but they're not really sequels to Beyond the Door.
Gotcha.
This is going to be a real sequel to Beyond the Door, and Juliet Mills is in it.
Of Saved by the Bell.
Juliet Mills?
She was on the first season of Saved by the Bell when it was our Miss whatever. Yeah, she was the teacher. How about that? I was forced to watch it by my brother. I'm like, God, when does Superhost start and the show end so I can just watch horror movies all day?
I remember when Showgirls came out and everybody was talking about
Elizabeth Berkley.
Yeah, about how she was on Saved by the Bell, and I had never watched that show, so I didn't give a shit.
God, she has a major drug overdose moment on it, though, Bill. She overdosed on diet pills because she was trying to do everything.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was Haley Mills. Sorry, guys. They're all the same to me. That's Miss Bliss. Thanks, guys. I'll be right on the horror stuff. I will not be right on the NBC stuff. How about that?
Anyway, Juliet Mills. Yeah, that's going to be a big idea to get used to. A Beyond the Door sequel.
I'm excited. Though I do like the not sequel Beyond the Door, especially Beyond the Door 3, A Mock Train. I like movies about, obviously, with my Night Train to Terror love. Any movies where evil satanic trains are mowing people down. I'm into
what are some of your other go-tos of that subgenre?
Oh man, Terror Train, obviously. Oh,
so near and dear to my heart, forever and always.
You mean subgenre train films?
Yes.
Yeah.
Horror Express.
Death and Trains.
Horror Express, yeah.
Eugenio Martin just passed away last week. The director of Horror Express. There's been a lot of
Well,
people.
I know we've talked about it in the show before, but seeing Horror Express at the drive-in was like some people probably feel going to one of the cathedrals in Rome. I was like, this movie is so perfect. Like, it like made me want to cry the entire time. Like, it's got everything. It's got kind of an alien. It's got zombies. It's got Telly Savalas getting woken up and being surly. It's got so much stuff.
And they interrupted him with a woman.
Yeah.
You don't get Telly Savalas out of bed with a lady.
No, you don't.
Oh, I can't even tell you what that movie means to me. That's like, that movie is in my DNA because that was one of my late night cable TV.
Nice.
Staying up late watching stuff on TV and like freaky shit that they would show. And one of them was Horror Express, which, you know, it doesn't seem like it's that scary now, but when I was a little kid, it was. I'd never seen anything like that. And there's the part where all their eyes turn white. That used to freak me out, where all the zombies get up at the end, the soldiers, with all the totally white eyes. It was really scary.
Yeah.
And in a good way. It wasn't an unhappy experience. I've been chasing that high for the rest of my life.
But you know, that's the thing that's great about that movie is that like it's truly a movie where anything can happen and did. Like so much happens in it. You're like, wow, this movie's great. Like you even wonder, like there's not really who's the protagonist, who's in danger. Everybody is. Like it really jumps around a lot, and that's kind of what I dig about it. And Terror Train, obviously, it's probably just as up there to me because it's. I love the idea of the killer constantly changing shape and who they are, and you don't even know how he got that. You know who he is, but on the other hand, it's like he could be anybody, and it's got David Copperfield. I mean, come on, it's wonderful. And the train looks awesome. I think that's the thing. What I didn't like about the two remakes that have shown up on Tubi is like they CGI'd all the train sequences, and it's like.
And something that I didn't notice until a recent viewing is the balloons they have at the beginning are blown up medical gloves, which I think is a lovely touch.
Yeah. Those movies all taught me never to prank people. Because I think that was a good life lesson from slashers. If you prank somebody and they go psycho or they get burned or whatever it is, you can grab any of the movies there. They're going to come back and get you. So I have been working on Bill, a self-help book of everything I learned about life.
I know.
And I actually have a couple chapters written.
I mean, and it very well may be the premise of literally every other slasher movie.
Yeah, it's like, if it's Bill and I always talk about Friday the 13th. If those kids weren't fucking around and paying attention to young Jason, none of these problems would have happened. All they had to do was their jobs. They had one job to do, watch Jason. They didn't do it. I mean,
He wasn't a very good sleuter.
Oh.
Yeah, Slaughter High 100% is the same story as Terror Train. It's, it probably
that's a great point. It is pretty much the same movie.
Yeah, except that all the teenagers are in their late 30s.
Especially Caroline Monroe.
In Search of Darkness 3, she's like, I'm 35 when they made that movie. She's like, I look better than everybody else in it. And then she laughs and she says it. She's wonderful. But yeah, it's like, though that movie has really imaginative kills, so I kind of give it and the guy who plays the killer in it is really
that's what Terror Train is missing, is a really spectacular murder scene, at least one of them, because the violence in it really just could not compete with what was current. I mean, there is some gruesome stuff in it, but it just didn't have that, tendency to try and outdo anybody else that was current at that time.
Slaughter High has an electrified bed while people are having sex and they flounder around while it's shocking.
The acid bath is the one I like the best.
Yeah, it's got a lot. Like that one's like, we're going to go all out and we're going to have a great poster and hey, everybody's probably 40. And, but they just went to high school. They just graduated. Recently. It's like their 5-year reunion? Sure. Those 5 years were tough. Hard 5 years.
It's seen a lot. They did a lot of partying and not sleeping.
Yeah. The other thing I always think about is how did the people, and it's probably, I think it was the first movie we ever showed, Bill, in Spookies. How did all those people come together? Why are they friends? Like,
oh yeah, in Spookies.
Yeah, there's like an old dude who's older than he's like someone's dad. Like, is he dating one of them? Why are punk? I went to high school. Punk people didn't hang out with jocks. Like, none of these people hang out together. But yet I love it. I mean, really, of all the problems of Spookies, like, that's the least of its problems. Like, that's probably like, the one thing that's not a problem. Yeah, Mike, Slaughter High is a British movie pretending to be about American high school, which is great. I like the idea that Carolyn Monroe went to an American high school. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's supposed to be 23. I went to high school. No one looked like Carolyn Monroe in my high school. You know what I mean? Like, nobody.
No. That's really an unrealistic goal.
I thought, but you know what? I based so much of my life on movies, and I was like, between Molly Ringwald and Carolyn Monroe, these are the girls I was looking for in high school. It never happened. You know what I mean? I was not blessed by my high school.
Since I don't actually have an ad gallery for the Suckling, I just pulled some stuff that was on the page this week, and a lot of it is pretty fabulous. Sam, I know you've been excited about these.
Oh.
So, zombie creeping flesh.
How can, I mean, I want to call this number right now and pay international tolls to see if they're still open.
And Bloody Birthday, that's an interesting co-feature for this movie.
It is. I really think people would be exhausted by the end of Zombie, though. You know
Zombie
what I mean?
creeping flesh.
Yeah,
AKA, we should say for everybody, that's Night of the Zombies, AKA Hell of the Living Dead. Virus is another title.
Wow.
They just couldn't stop
It's In Search of Darkness 3, and every single person talks shit on it. And I'm like, God, when can I be a talking head on one of these shows and just be the only person that's like, Bruno Mattei is fucking awesome, and be like the lone asshole that likes his movies? Because that movie's super, I know you hate it, Bill, but it's super entertaining.
I don't know. Maybe I just need to see it again.
I want you to watch it again through. You got to, well, watch it like I do. Be really high, and then be like,
Yeah.
This movie's great.
Maybe we should watch that tonight instead of the Suckling.
No, the Suckling's wonderful.
Look at this. This blew my mind when I saw it. An alternate ad design for Basket Case.
That's a great tagline too. Oh man,
that's the one from the U.S. campaign, but still, I mean,
it's great.
You never see anything with this type of image from the film. It's always that one with a close-up of Belial's face.
Yeah,
which is beautiful in itself.
I like Brain Damage just as much, though.
Oh, I adore
maybe
Brain
it's a hot
Damage.
take. Yeah, just because Zacherle's the voice of Belial or whatever his name, the other one's name is. Holy shit! What is going on this night? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm speechless when I look at this. Campsite Massacre is the final terror, and with Daryl Hannah and Rachel Ward. And there's a guy who this was his first movie, and his name escapes me. The chat will let us know. And it was filmed in 1980 or 81, and they held it because I guess there was a glut of slasher movies, and they didn't want to put it out yet. And plus, the actors that were in it, like Daryl Hannah, Rachel Ward, they had started getting bigger and bigger parts. So they were like, we'll hold on to this until they're even bigger stars, and then we'll put it out. It wasn't released until 1983. And it was in London before it was in the States. This is from May of 83. It wasn't in the States till October.
Two things about this ad that I love.
Yes.
One, terrific bloodbath and mudbath program. And program always seems so fancy to me versus American. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, but really, this is sleazy. Two, obviously, it's a Canon theater, which that's why they bought those theaters, just to show this. Oh, man.
Yes. Sam, I knew this was going to get a big reaction from you.
Is that a reaction?
If only if it said
joy
insane.
or-
it would've been
Oh,
even
yeah.
Oh,
bigger. I
excellent. Good.
jumped out the window.
This is one of Sam's favorite Argentos, and mine too,
Oh, same.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would. Oh man, it's hard between this and Phenomena. It's pretty hard.
For me,
What
my four go-tos. I love all of the 70s and 80s output by Argento, but the four go-tos would be Deep Red, Suspiria, Tenebrae, and Opera. I kind of toggle between those as my favorite.
You can't go wrong with any of those. Even Opera. I love Opera, even though it tends to, like, I don't know, some people say it was a decline. I disagree.
Same.
I love opera, especially the end. It's just like, oh man, it's so good.
Ooh.
Good.
Oh, I went too fast.
Oh,
Oh,
Let's look
well,
at this first.
yeah, man.
Sam, I couldn't not show this.
I mean, you're just trying to give me attention.
Mhm.
Wow. I have so much to say about this whole series of movies, but Mark Gregory does not look that fearsome. One,
No,
two,
not even close.
no. Two, this movie is incredible, and Fred Williamson's girlfriend has Freddy Krueger claws in it and a cape, and kills a whole bunch of dudes in it, and it's great. This is like one of the best movies. This is why I don't get to vote for the Academy Awards and have a Rotten Tomatoes credit. This is one of the best movies ever made. Oh man!
Speaking of one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah, look at that art.
Yeah, that's a beautiful image. I don't know if I like it better than the classic American image with the weird face, but it's close.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen this image before in promotional art for Halloween 3.
Mm-mm.
I hadn't either. I'm sure
Is that
someone has
what's the kid about watching TV about that bugs come out?
It's that one. Look, one of these says that it was better than the first. Oh, there it is. Sequel that is better than the original.
Yeah. That dude got fired up right after. Then they're like, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, people may agree with you because of Twitter. But right now, you know, you're sorry. The type for Halloween is wonderful too. That W is gorgeous. But the whole thing is. I also like they had to tell us it was all new. Like, hey, it's just this isn't Boogeyman 2. This is an actual Scott's hat. This is all new footage.
How about this? Suddenly, Parasite has grown to kaiju proportions and is about to devour an entire city.
And I don't know what whodunit is. What is whodunit, Bill?
Island of Blood.
Oh man, I like they totally. I'm like, this is my Jawa brain kicked in. I was like, what is it?
Yeah, this was known as Island of Blood in the U.S., although it did play as Whodunit in the United States. I've never seen it, and I wanted to ask you about this. Do you know this movie?
I think so. Let me look. I'm looking to see if I'm looking it up right now. If I think it's the one I think it is.
John, do you know this movie?
I don't. No.
I had never heard of it until I looked it up.
It's a bunch of actors are coming to this island to be in a. They think they're coming to be in a movie, and they're coming to get killed. And they get killed in various ways. It's not a Jawa, it's a slasher. But
it did show in 3D in the UK, Darren. So I don't know if this screening would have been in 3D. It doesn't say so, but it seems strange to me that they'd show it any other way. So
yeah,
I'm not sure. Anyway, go ahead, Sam.
No, that's it. Wow.
Oh.
Oh. Who are the people that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Who are the people that brought you Texas Chainsaw that did Alone in the Dark?
New Line.
Not Jack. Yeah, not Jack Shoulder. I mean,
no. In this case, they meant New Line Cinema.
I thought they meant the mafia that stole the print. They took it over to England.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're going to talk about the people who brought you Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that would be the mob.
Yeah. Man, this is, again, still, even though this played on Shudder, it's a movie that I think not enough people have seen. Like, I really love this movie.
I do too.
Yeah.
The killers in it are just so unconventional, and the casting is just really wonderful. Martin Landau there.
One of the guys that's in one of the punk bands in the movie, the band The Sick Fucks, met Jack Palance in Hollywood at one point. He said, "Hey, I was in a movie with you, Alone in the Dark. I was one of the sick fucks." And I can't do Jack Palance voice, so just imagine he goes, "We were all sick fucks in that movie." He just walked it out. Which is great. Even the beginning's great with Donald Pleasance like dressed as a butcher chopping stuff and like the flames behind him. It's a wild movie. I just wish more people had seen it.
I wish I had seen it. I didn't see it until just a few years ago.
And it has that strangely upbeat ending.
Yeah. I found my copy in a West Virginia thrift store for $1. And the lady was like, "You seem really excited about this." And I'm like, I wanted to pay for it. And I said, "Do you know how much is it on eBay?" This is before the reissue came out. And I was like, just so happy to have it. So it was good. Almost all the sewer water's gone.
David has seen that movie Island of Blood. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Also, I'm not selling this, but on Shudder that In Search of Darkness 3 is on. I told Bill about it. Almost every movie that Bill and I like is in it because they ran out of movies. So this one, it's like 4.5 hours long. It'll take like a week to watch like me, but like Grave Robbers is in it, the Mexican movie. Don't Panic is in it. The Children. Like it's like all the Vinegar Syndrome releases because they probably had footage. It's awesome. So it's like literally in a minute, my wife said, "Well, they ran out of movies. These are only movies you give a shit about." It's like, yes, exactly.
The Children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like a 5-minute sequence about different people talking about The Children, and I thought that you might pop up as a surprise and be like, "It's the most important movie ever."
I love when you say things like that, Sam Panico.
Yeah, that's a goal. I can't wait till you and I are sitting in a room together doing these head things. Like, all right, guys, say stuff about the child, and we just talk about the child for, I think it was like 10 seconds of like the 2 hours that we talked about the child. That's where I want to get to. You got to say stuff like, "Well, really, it's the best of all the sequels." Or a lot of people don't know that Zombie is, and you just got to say something like that, and they use you. But that's a goal. 2023 goal, right? Will anybody make a documentary about stupid shot on video movies that I care about? Maybe.
I sure hope so. I do think that there's a growing interest in shot on video horror films.
I actually got to interview one of the directors. His movie's coming out from AGFA, Way Bad Stone. I've discovered there's a whole world of shot on video sword and sorcery movies. And by that, I mean there's 6 of them. But, it's easy to make a slasher shot on video for $3,000. Making a sword and sorcery movie with effects and gore and sword fights, pretty wild. So I'm really excited about it. So that's coming up pretty soon. So excited to watch this movie, though. I'm excited for people's minds to get blown and come back and we get all your feelings about it, not about the movie and all the spoilers about it.
Plus, John, you said you had some more to say that you wanted to say after the secrets of the
film. I want to hear what you say after this.
I will share all of my thoughts as soon as the film is over.
All right, so I dropped the link into chat several times. It is on YouTube. That's where we're watching it from. If this is your first time watching, which I doubt it is, but if it is, we're not actually showing the movie here in the environment. I dropped a link to it on YouTube. You can go look it up, The Suckling from 1990. That's our first feature tonight. And after you're finished watching it, look for our second segment live stream. We'll be back after the movie. We give everybody about 5 minutes or so to catch up so we don't have to all start it at the same time. But started at the end of this countdown. And we'll see you back here on the second segment, hopefully, with John McDevitt from FACETS. We'll be back for the second segment.
Enjoy, and remember, don't take it too seriously.
I promise I will not.